Okay, think this should work. All right, so let us look at routes to qualified teacher status, that is QTS for teachers and those with teaching experience outside of the UK. So basically, us Jamaicans, Caribbean, US, people that were trained outside of the UK but want to come to the UK to teach, and they also have teaching experience outside of the UK. It does help if you do have inside as well, but that's not the point. All right, so what is QTS first of all? So let's look at the overview. So teacher training, normally when you do your teacher training in England, it normally leads to a professional teaching qualification that they like to call QTS. You are normally allowed to only work for up to a maximum of 4 years without QTS in the UK as an English teacher. And that's for England, sorry. So after those 4 years, you would need QTS in most schools. It's always best to have more than what's the bare minimum. So of course you're going to get the best choices of jobs because you have QTS. And in most cases it's free based on your subject area, but we're going to get into that. So some schools that might allow you not to need QTS, but they still do ask if you have it, is schools such as academies, free schools, and private schools. Let's look at routes. There are four main routes in order to get QTS. So first one is you apply for QTS in England, apply for assessment only QTS. That's a tricky one. And thirdly, apply for teacher training in England. That is signing up for a program. And then lastly, you can apply to train for what we call IQTS. So they have one specifically for international qualified teacher status, which I believe I might have to do an individual video about. So basically, if you're not eligible to get this one, you'll be eligible to get this one. All right, so we're going to click on this one for the sake of this video. So for this one, it says when you apply for QTS in England, you do not need to pay a fee for training, undergo any further training, or to visit the UK. You can actually apply for this outside. So that means even if you're in Jamaica or whatever country, you can actually apply for this before you get here. So if you have a teacher qualification from any of the following countries or regions, you can apply for QTS. So the regions are Australia, Canada, the European Economic Area, Gibraltar, Guernsey, Hong Kong, Jersey, New Zealand, Northern Ireland, tongue twister, Scotland, Switzerland, Ukraine, the USA, of course. But they've put in this clause recently that says if you have a subject specialism in languages, maths, or science and a qualification to match teaching students from ages 11 to 16 from one of these countries, now you can also apply. So these countries are going to include countries like Ghana, India, Jamaica, Nigeria, Singapore, and South Africa. So these were the 6 new countries that were added as of January last year, 2023. Or was it February last year? I know it was last year, 2023. All right, now let's look at, that's for that one. So let us now look at, let me switch this video around. So now let's look at how we actually qualify to do that. So let's actually look at what the application looks like. So in this case, and I've already done mine, I did mine December 15th, 2023, just 2 months ago. 2 months, yeah. Almost 3 months at this point, still waiting on mine, but I'll show you guys that in the end. All right, so we've already looked at this bit to say once you have met all of these criteria, you can actually apply. So we know that Jamaica is included, which is my country, of course. I do believe I have quite a lot of Nigerians and South Africans on here as well. So I will be mentioning that country as well, or those countries, sorry. So just a few things to note. So requirements when it comes on to actually getting QTS that you'll need to ensure that you meet. So, in order for QTS to be awarded as a non UK teacher, you must firstly have an undergraduate or an undergrad degree in the same academic standard. What they're normally referring to is this company that we like to call ENIC, UK ENIC, which is basically like a translation or a comparability of your degree. So, say for instance, your Jamaican qualification versus the UK, they compare them to say, based on UK standards, your degree is this level, level six. So that brings us to point number two. Your degree then needs to actually meet a level six qualification based on UK standards. Thirdly, you have to have completed a course within the content that is practical and pedagogical, sorry, focus, which means they're just trying to say you must have done a teaching qualification. So what they're asking for is not a science degree, for example, but a science in education degree, or not a maths degree, but a maths in education degree. All right. Thirdly, you must be qualified and suitable to teach children ages 5 to 16. So obviously, you can't expect to be committing all types of crimes and be able to come into the UK. No, they're very student focused. You have to have at least one school year, which they refer to as 9 months of experience employed as a teacher in your country after qualifying. So, say for instance, I graduated in 2022. I was I was teaching before, but they didn't take into consideration the 3 months before I graduated from Teachers College within my experience. So if you had exactly 9 months, including, say, for instance, 3 months within the time that your degree was not granted, then it's not going to be included. And lastly, you must have the professional status needed to be a teacher in the country that you're qualified in, and not subject to any specific or special conditions or restrictions to your practice. What they're trying to say is it can't be a case where you're expected to not be trusted in a room by yourself with students, with children under the age of 18. So there must not be any conditions or special restrictions that are tied to you. Hope that's clear. And the last thing I want to kind of point out is English language proficiency. So this was the one thing that got me kind of worried at first, as if I was qualified to get it. If you're from an English speaking country, say for instance, Jamaica, we speak Patois or Creole, but our main language is indeed English, and we are English speaking. Say for instance, I believe, don't quote me on this, so countries in Africa, Nigeria, South Africa, you guys are obviously able to speak English as well, but you do have your pidgin language, just like us Jamaicans in a sense. You should be able to pass this. So what they're saying is you must have been born in a country that holds citizenship or studied an undergrad level degree to a certain extent. So they're starting to say is you must have studied in English. So you can't expect to have studied in Spanish or French or whatever it might have been and be able to pass this part. I hope that's not too confusing. And they're just talking about here. So in this case, they're saying you'll be guided through the documents that you'll need to submit as a part of your application. That will come up in just a bit further down. All right, so now let's get into the fun part, actually applying. So the reason why they're saying my session has expired is I've been obviously on the website all morning. All right, so check your eligibility to apply for the qualified teacher status. So this section, I'll actually leave a link under the video so that you guys can access this easily. So it's just trying to give you an overview again of what is QTS, blah, blah, blah. We've done that. An important note to make here is having a QTS does not, and I repeat, does not guarantee that you get a job or give you the right to work in England. So they're trying to just be very specific here in saying not because you have a QTS that means you must get a job. It just increases your chances of looking more marketable to your employers. They're also trying to give you a disclaimer that the Department for Education, which is the DFE, does not employ teachers directly. And to find a teaching job, you must actually apply to individual schools, or as we know, we use agencies. All right, so let's get down to it. So we're going to start. So this says you use this service to check if you're eligible and to understand the types of evidence that you'll need to provide. So let's get right into it. Let's start. All right, so let's check your eligibility. So it says check your eligibility to apply for a qualified teacher status, QTS, in England. Have you used this service before? So I'm going to say yes and sign me in to continue. I am going to have to put my information in here. Let me just pause this. So what I'm going to do is check your eligibility. I'm going to say no, I need to check if I can apply because that's the most suitable one at this point. Then we're going to say apply for qualified teacher status. So this is a good part of it. This is what it looks like. So application incomplete, of course, because I've only started. So it's just going to tell you when. And the good part about this is you can start your application now and take some time to get your documents and everything in order. So say, for instance, all your documents like your transcripts and everything that you'll need to actually request. So you must, though, complete it within 6 months. After 6 months, it will be automatically deleted and then you will have to start again. It's not too much of a hassle, and I think 6 months is very, very reasonable. All right, now let's look at what information they ask for. So first slot is enter your personal information. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. So given name, family name. So given name's your first name and middle name. Yeah. Family name is your surname, date of birth. I'm just going to choose save and come back for all of them so that I'm just trying to take you guys through quickly to say what's what. It will also ask you to upload a valid identification. So the acceptable forms that they accept is passport. So it can be, say, for instance, you're from Nigeria, South Africa, or Jamaica. It can be those passports. Obviously, they don't expect you to have a British passport. Driver's license, once again, that can be from your home country. Identity card, I believe that has to be from the UK or also back from home, or your birth certificate. They're saying if you're uploading your identity card or driver's license, you have to obviously put both sides on there. And the file types that they accept is the below. So PDF form, JPEG, so the normal ones. Let's then look at section 2. So section 2 is talking about qualifications. So it says add your qualification. So we cannot accept a certificate in secondary primary education or a diploma in primary or secondary education from Jamaica, as these do not meet the required level. So they're trying to say if you did a certificate, they can't accept it. We can only accept applications from teachers who are qualified to teach children aged 11 to 16. And just a disclaimer there, if you are teaching secondary, then you fall into this category. Secondary meaning high school. So the subjects that they accept is, of course, math, science, biology, chemistry, physics, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin, Russian, and Spanish. Thankfully, most of us falls within this specified range of subjects. If not, unfortunately, you would have to come into the country if you're already thinking of coming to the UK to teach, and then possibly trying to convince your school to help you pay for QTS and do the assessment only route. they're saying that they cannot accept any related subjects. So, say for example, you're an economics um, major, and that's what your degree is in. They can't accept economics instead of maths, or agricultural science in the place of biology, or engineering instead of physics. So it has to be those exact ones. So if it's not, fortunately, you wouldn't be qualified. Um, then you'd, of course, enter your details. What's your qualification title? I would say put exactly what's on your degree, to be simple. Just put exactly what's on your degree. So mine has a long title. I don't even remember it from my head most of the times. The name of the institution and the country of your institution. It's then going to ask you, when did you start your qualification? When did you complete your qualification? And what is the date of your teaching qualification certificate? So I thought that my date would have actually reflected, say, for instance, May 2022, because that's when I finished. Instead, when I got my degree, it reflected September 2022, which is a complete other story. But, anyways, make sure that you put the correct date on there. What did we just look at? We just looked at teaching qualification. Now let's look at the age range. So they're going to ask you, what is the age range that you're qualified to teach? And guys, remember, if you put anything in wrong here, it might stop you. So make sure that you're paying attention. So if you're eligible to teach from ages 11 to 16, normally the secondary age is 11 to 18. That includes what we call A levels, which is sixth form over here. And let's go on to enter the subjects that you can teach. So you can choose up to 3 subjects, subject 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 is optional, of course. If you want to, you can put that in. So say, for instance, as a science teacher, obviously you're not able to major in science in college or university. So I would say biology is my major, but we're able to teach physics and chemistry as well. Good. What's the other thing here? So your English language proficiency. Now, were you born? The question is, were you born in or hold citizenship of any of the countries below? So if you were born in or hold any of them, then you're exempt, thankfully. Good, because that is a whole different process. So all the countries, so all you'll need is your passport, which is why I'm encouraging you to just use your passport as your identity instead, or proof of identification. So the countries are Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Canada, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Ireland, Jamaica, Malta, New Zealand, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, and the US or USA. So all those countries, you're exempt. Qualified teachers from Great Britain obviously are also exempt, but we're talking about us international. Good. All right. Then you look at your work history. Let's see here. So you're going to add all of your current or most recent roles. So basically all they need is the name of school, city, country, job title, and they're also going to ask you approximately how many hours per week. So hours per week doesn't necessarily mean just the hours that you're teaching. It means what's your contracted hours. So in Jamaica, for instance, I'm assuming that in every school, you would have set times that you're free, where there's no such thing though. Free, meaning a non-contact hour where you're not teaching, but it still does count towards your 30 hours for the week. So, for instance, you might be teaching 27 hours in a week, but you're contracted up to 35. It just means you're staying at school from 8:30 to maybe 3:30. That's what you're putting in here. When did this role start and when did this end? Are you still with that current employer? If this is the most current one, then you're going to choose yes. Then add all of your other history there. Then you're also going to put proof that you're a recognized teacher. Now, this is the tricky bit, or the part that normally takes the longest to get. All right, now for this part, we call it or they like to call it a statement of professional standing. Now, obviously, because I put my country in, it's going to say the Jamaican Teaching Council. In Nigeria, I'm going to assume that it's the Nigerian Teaching Council, South Africa, the South African Teaching Council, and so on and so forth. So you must, going to stress that again, you must supply the exact type of document that they named here. They will not accept and cannot accept any other document as proof that you're a recognized teacher. So not even a special letter from anyone. And it must be written in English, of course. So the document's basically going to confirm that you've completed a teaching qualification or teacher training in your country. You've successfully completed any period of professional experience comparable to an induction. So basically, they call an induction here ECT. They want to know, did you do something like that in Jamaica? In Jamaica, we do have somewhat of an induction period. That's what we call teaching practice. I'm assuming it's the same in other countries. It should also confirm that you're authorized to teach and has never been suspended, barred, canceled, revoked, or restricted, and that you have no sanctions against you whatsoever. It should also confirm the age ranges and subjects you're qualified to teach, and that you are qualified to teach at a state or government school. I don't believe mine said that. I might just put that one on the screen or at the end. And this is going to be a written confirmation, and it must be dated no more than 6 months. So basically, they want it to be within a 6-month period, right? Don't give them a document that's expired or about to expire. Is your document written in English? Of course, definitely would be. And basically, that is it. I am going to show you guys a clip of what my proof of professional standing, statement of professional standing, sorry, I had a brain fog, looks like, and also what my application confirmation looked like when I applied back in December. As soon as I get mine, I might just send a post to show you guys, qualified teacher, officially gotten her QTS in this country. I'm assuming it will be in a couple of days, so I should update this quite soon. Okay, so hopefully that explains a lot. I really know that it's been a long video, but I wanted it to be very detailed, step by step. So I'm gonna put my statement of professional standing on here, as well as my confirmation page and what it looks like. The important thing to note is there's no set time frame as to when it will be awarded. As you can imagine, it's a humongous country with millions of applications, I'm assuming, and we are entered into a queue. Literally, the confirmation email says it will be dealt with based on how it came in. So if you came in 1,100,000, the 1,100,000th place, that's when you'll be dealt with. So I've been obviously waiting almost 3 months so far, and I'm assuming I'll definitely get it before summer, and that's really all I want. So I would say apply as soon as possible if you're eligible. I'll try to get a video. Let me know if anyone wants to know about the international one. So the one that if you're not eligible for this route, the video explaining the other 3 routes and what it entails. And just let me know if anyone's interested in that one so I can know if it makes sense. So I'll see you guys next Monday. Have a nice day and stay tuned.